Leaders Live, where I get a chance to chat with luminaries in e-discovery and related areas. This broadcast is sponsored by Reveal-Brainspace, the industry's leading AI e-discovery platform. Don't forget to subscribe to watch me, George Socha, weekly with leaders in e-discovery. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, I think we have a problem here. This is e-discovery Leaders Live, but right now we don't seem to have a camera unless, John, you can see things I can't see. You'll get a chance to see behind the scenes. Okay, well, you can see us, we can't see you. This will be interesting. Welcome to the 118th episode of e-discovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. I am George Socha, Senior Vice President of Brand Awareness at Reveal. Each week, I host an episode of e-discovery Leaders Live where I get the chance to chat with luminaries in e-discovery and related areas. Past episodes are available on the Reveal website. Go to revealdata.com, select resources, then select e-discovery Leaders Live. As you can tell, this is not a typical episode. First, this is not our typical time, 11 a.m. Eastern on Fridays. This is not. Second, as you no doubt can tell from the image, we cannot see. This is not my typical location. I am not in St. Paul, Minnesota. Rather, this week I am in Sydney, Australia. And we are broadcasting actually from a WeWork studio, so you can see what that looks like if you've never been in one from the background, because my fake background does not work in this setting. I have here with our guest today, Murali Baddula, and I already got it wrong.
No, you're right.
Right, okay. Murali Baddula, who is Chief Digital Officer at Law and Order. Typically, I would read out his background, but that's a little awkward with him sitting right next to me here. So instead, I'm going to jump right in and ask, tell me about your background. How did you get into this world of e-discovery?
Sure. I'm, again, like Murali Baddula. I'm the Chief Digital Officer at Law and Order. Been in the industry for about close to 20 years, doing litigation support services, gone from e-discovery into innovation, into the digital space. Now, like looking after innovation, transformation, security, cyberspace, and all different kinds of things comes under digital side. I started the innovation labs at Law and Order. And promoted our internal IP into the market as well. Like now we're into the market now. Coming to May, like now it's really interesting, like how I get into this e-discovery space. Before getting into e-discovery space, like now I'm doing like now data analytics, which is mainly into looking into customer behavior. Like a credit card company, like, looking at their behavior and how they are using the credit cards and how we can sell more. That's where I started with. And then GFC hits in. I'm working in America, came back to Australia when the GFC came in. Like many people, I lost so much money as well. But that's a different case. And then when I came to Australia, like, one of my friends referred me to Law and Order. That's where I get into Law and Order. I don't know what e-discovery means. The titles at the time are very generic. They call it as data analyst. So I thought, okay, this is related to some analytics, and I'll just get in and see like what it looks like. And in the first 1 month, when I'm actually doing stuff, like now I'm really like, what the hell I'm doing here? I mean, I'm sure like a lot of people who gets into e-discovery in the first 3 months to 6 months, like now I'm sure that they feel the same thing, because it's not the same thing. It is very niche. industry. Like you don't find it very often, outside, in a generic world, people working in big data, banks and all the stuff. So it's very niche, and finding people at the same time is also very hard in this industry. So I joined Law and Order around 2006, 2007 as a data analyst. Again, as I said, it's very generic, but first 3-4 months, I struggled like everyone, and but it it gave me enough challenges to keep me going, and that is what I like. I don't. For me, it's more of I need challenges all the time. If I'm not challenged enough, I have to go and find something else.
If you're not
which is
challenged, you're bored, and if you're bored, that's bad.
That's
right?
bad. So
Yes.
Law and Order definitely gave me enough challenges for me to grow. And they are the first one to bring a lot of new tools into
So,
the Australian market.
If you could pause a moment and tell folks who or what is Law and Order, for those who don't know.
Yeah, of course. Law and Order been in Australia, for about 21 years now. And our managing director Julian McGrath founded Law and Order. Initially, started with hard copy side, bringing legal documents, scanning, code copy, all the stuff and then one of the co-owner, Paul Goodrick, joined with Law and Order, bringing the e-discovery side part of it into Law and Order. So as Law and Order by itself, we normally group Law and Order into 3 groups technically. One is the production side, where we do the digitalization part, like a hard copy to digitalization. And the second part is e-discovery group. So where we have e-discovery consulting, digital forensics, document review, cyber breach reviews, and all that kind of stuff. And the third part is is the e-hearings. So where we present everything in the code and manage the code books and all that stuff. So it's pretty much Law and Order is end-to-end solutions. So
Sounds like it, taking it from the earliest stages all the way through the final steps.
So if you see the EDR model, pretty much we have covered each and every part of EDR model. And that's where we are specialized. And we are 24/7, serving our clients across the world, and especially in Australia.
When you described your role initially, you threw out some very popular phrases: innovation, digital transformation. What are you doing on the innovation side of things?
Yeah, I'll come to that one. Before I come to the innovation side, I just want to talk about the mindset.
Okay.
I came into the innovation. It's not for everyone, but it's for everyone kind of thing. It's the way I worked under legends in the industry, at least in the Australian industry, and the thought process they have gone through. I learned from them, and the challenges I spoken to, the tools Law and Order has always been upfront, bringing to the industry in Australia. That gave me enough guidance for me to get into the innovation side, and myself and the colleagues I always work with is we have a mindset, we jump onto the solution mode straight away. If there's a problem, we jump onto the solution mode. That's where we I came into that innovation side and started doing, where there's a problem, we create a tool. It's not like a marketing or selling it outside. It's more of we use it in house. We use it more and more, and years, and then once it is matured enough, we go into the market. That's our strategy, and that's where we started with the innovation. Innovation comes with, again, a lot of challenges. That is, again, keep me going.
Right. Keep you from being bored.
Yes,
Right.
yes. So, and again, I'm grateful, with Law and Order, they give me these challenges, go to the next level, moving to different things, and keeping my brain occupied all the time. With the innovation, we develop tools. We offer solutions to our clients. Working with Law and Order, again, we work with it vast majority of the clients, like, we have a bigger group of clients in government, in corporates, law firms, everywhere. And everyone comes with different problems. So we have to be on top of it to offer solutions to our clients. So that's where like, this mindset again for me, like, coming into that innovation piece is like, offering those solutions to our clients. And again, like, some of the solutions we have offered is like, automating the processes for them, or like, say like the large data sets we bring on, and like, we do the deduplication, standard processes, and all the stuff which you go through the e-discovery process. But again, like, we find like a lot of other issues, like, comes around that big data. And for example, deduplication process, like, there is, like, you can't dedupe everything and bringing different, documents from different cross platforms and all the stuff. Like, we have developed our own tool, which is in the market now, which is again, like, helpful to our clients to reduce their document sets, to review. So, it may be initially they're spending a bit more, but reducing a lot of time and cost associated to the project. That's where like, the innovation piece comes in. And one thing I have to say, like, with the innovation, the big challenge for me is when I came into that, is the culture change. That's I'm sure
Culture
that
change within your organization,
within the
industry,
organization, yeah.
or-
I think, like, probably everyone going through the same problem. Maybe like, some problems are like bigger than, like, with other firms, like, depends on the mindset in the company. For me, like, the good thing with Law & Order is, like, we always been innovative, and people comes with a lot of ideas. Still, like, for me, like, is understanding them and putting them into the process, and also, like, balancing everyone's ideas and making sure which ones are, like, attached to our business strategy, and getting them into the market. So there is a challenge I faced myself, and it's at the same time, like, with the culture as well. So
not every idea can be the best idea.
exactly, but
you cannot do all
yeah.
things number one priority.
That's right. That's right. So we have in-house tools where we capture all the ideas, and then it goes through the voting process, and also, like, it's, again, like, you may get, like, 100% votes. Doesn't mean, like, you get through that process. It has to be attached to our business strategy. So the investment we are going to put into that idea is also, like, should match our business, our leadership, our strategy as well.
So it sounds as if part of what you're doing is curating ideas.
Yeah.
So you're capturing ideas and keeping track of them in your workflow. Then you've got to evaluate the ideas not only to see whether they sound worthwhile on their own merit, but whether they fit into your business strategy, and whether you think they're going to fit into clients' business strategy.
Business strategy, yeah.
Okay.
And we get a lot of ideas from our clients as well. So we take we do the crowdsourcing as well. Like, we get ideas from our clients. We offer. I mean, like, they work with us, they experiment with us. The good thing with our clients is, like, there are some clients who actually closely work with us to bring a product to the market. And it's not just like, building something from scratch. It could be something bringing to the market, some new product which is already in the market, but, like, they experiment with us, like, see how it works, and then bringing it to the market and serving them, going forward. So there are a few ways, like, we interact with our clients, and how we can bring new things to the market. And at the same time, like, at Law & Order, we follow a rule, like, 70-20-10 rule in the innovation. It's mainly, like, 70% is getting better, the products we already have. So making it, improving them, and 20% is changing to the core products we already have to meet the new trends in the market. And the 10% is mainly, like, our new innovations or getting new ideas into the market. So the new innovations is, like, I'm saying 10%, but they occupy a lot of our energy. The 70-20 is more of, like, it's already there. We're adding new things to that, or we're changing the products to support our clients. But the 10% is the one, like, which takes most of our clients.
Coming up with something new is always harder than
Is always
refining
harder.
something there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
and that's where we're coming into mainly into automation, like the grunt processes, like where you do like a lot of processing, uploading to the to the review platform, but until we come into the consulting piece, like where we actually present to the client, we try to automate most of that process in house. Like we create our own products, or we bring some products which are already in the market, and plug into our things. So that's how like the process, like how we improve our processes.
So for the automation, I can envision there being two broad groupings, and maybe I'm understanding correctly, maybe not. One is automation to improve how you do things internally, and the other would be automation to help your clients improve how they do things.
Yeah, that's right. Like that's where our collaboration with our clients works. So our clients come up with a problem, and we sit down with them, and we create a statement of work and work with them together to automate their process as well. And that's how like one of the product, I'm sure like you guys are using it as well, and the product we released to the market, like which is helping a lot of e-discovery process, day to day little things they do. We have automated most of the process, and now it is available in the market, and we're getting like a lot of good reviews for the product, which is a fantastic thing, which is keeping us going to improve the product.
What are you doing on the AI front?
On the AI front, we're doing a lot of things actually. One, like of course, like the products we have already is like they come up with a lot of already built-in models, and at the same time, our innovation team closely working with like the products which are available on the cloud. So it could be Azure Cognitive Services, like or it could be from AWS, like speech to text, different things. We work with them. Like our team works with the cloud platforms, like to bring new models. So say like if you are doing a cyber breach review, like it's all about PII,
right?
And we have to build models around PII. And also like a workflow, like it may not be like one model is enough for the PI. We have to build like a couple of models on top of each other, working towards collaborating between the models, and then coming up with a solution like we can present to our client. So for breach review, for example, like it's not typically like e-discovery. The tools in e-discovery.
It's kind of like e-discovery, but it's not kind of like e-discovery.
That's right. That's right. So it's a little bit different. Like I mean, like initially, what I thought, like, we are using e-discovery. It is simple to to put those workflows into cyber breach review, but it's not the same. Like it is typically like you are not looking for every document, like for whether it is relevant or not. Like we are simply pushing it, finding PII. And that's where they are more interested in, like which documents got PII.
So the focus is heavily on PII. Are there other things you're also looking for as part of that?
We do look at other things, like is what documents has been breached. Like it could be passports, licenses, and all stuff. It's still relevant to PII.
Yeah.
But like when they're producing, like when the client asks, like, show me my material, what has been breached, like we have to produce those material. And at the same time, you have to apply heavy redactions on top of the PI if you are producing to someone who wants to review. So it's not like just like that simple. If you see it, putting e-discovery tools against cyber breach review. So we have designed our own workflows, our own AI models. So we heavily work with Azure Cognitive Services, like to bring and build new models on top of like the available models already on Azure Cognitive Services. So it's kind of like one application with many models, like which we can plug and play kind of thing. That's where we investing most of our time in AI. I believe like someone watches my previous ones, like I believe in AI. Like more AI, that's the future.
Mm-hmm.
And people might be thinking like, no, yeah, I may be taking over, a lot of work from us. I don't believe in that. Like, I
That's not
think
been your experience.
that's not been my experience. Like, we always need people to train AI.
Mm-hmm.
So future jobs probably like training AI rather we doing things that we train more and
Right.
more of AI.
When you build an AI model,
hmm
what does that process look like?
it has to go through a lot of R&D. So our research and development team, along with our consulting team and e-discovery team, sometimes we include the forensic team as well, like where we need like different things we have to get into investigation side. And also like it goes through a lot of iterations of like training the model. So we have to first like there could be a seed set, like we train the model and then bringing that model into the entire population.
Mm-hmm.
But that initial training could go like 10 times or 15 times, or it can like go into only 2-3 times. Like it really depends like when we are training that model. And I'm sure like in e-discovery, like if you are doing continuous active learning or like predictive coding or something like that, you probably go through the same process in when you're building that model. I think like it's the same process when you're building AI. But again, like it's a lot of research has to go in that. And at the same time, the transparency. Like you are building the model, but you have to prove it with the code sometimes. Like and we have to bring in that subject matter experts in place, like to make sure you're training it right and getting it right. Like that's where law and order is specialized in it. Like we have so many experts in house, like looking at the models, making sure it gets right, and people behind it to back it up.
Right.
And obviously, like when we have to create an affidavit or something like that, people writing affidavits, we put the subject matter experts in that. So that's where I think like it's a challenge, but it's a good challenge going forward. And I'm sure like that's where the future is.
When you set out to build a model, and I know the answer is going to be it depends, but we'll see if we can get past that. When you set out to build a model, how long does it take? Is this a matter of hours, days, weeks, months? And I know it depends, of course.
I mean, there are a few models like we built in a couple of days, but the models like we're still working on for months.
Okay.
So again, like to come into that perfect, like we may not be getting into 100% like exact, but like to come into the situation like where we are comfortable to offer to our clients, sometimes it takes months. Like the models we're building on Azure Cognitive Services, like we're working on like for 4 months now. So there are some models we built on Azure Cognitive Services which are like that. Like we can get it in because they're predefined models already there. And we
easy models.
Easy models, yeah. And for some of the problems, that those models are good enough, and we can start on that and go from there. But there are models like there are country-specific models like say for example, Australian passport details are different to the generic passport details like Medicare numbers or license details, and we have to build models to capture specific region as well, like and the accents, slangs, like many different parts of the like the audio, text, and all the stuff will play around the part. And again, like we have to build models like where the process one to put the processes in place is like you may get like a lot of different varieties of files, like where you have to extract a lot of information to put through to the next model. So it all depends. Again, like
Are the models language specific? So would you have an English model, an Australian English model, a Spanish model, a Brazilian Spanish, or a Portuguese model?
I mean, like when you build with the AI, like I don't think like it will take the language into the scope. Like yes, you can create models based on the language as well,
but you don't have to.
You don't have to. Yeah. But again, like the sentiments in each culture could be different.
Right.
So that's something like we have to put together, like say like Australian sentiments and culture could be different to some other country. So we have to put all those together, like the behavioral, the sentiment analysis and all the stuff. And again, like now we're growing into the world of collaboration, mainly with chats. Like emails. Emails are still there,
Right. Yeah.
but the chat systems are getting, and a lot of people, a lot of these apps are coming with a lot of different, like emojis kind of thing, like how you show your sentiments or your behavior, whether it is negative, positive, and all the stuff is coming through that. Like and we have to keep like building these AI models to learn that stuff. So it's not one-off thing. Like it's what you have today is not same tomorrow. Like that's why we have to keep continuously, training our models.
You mentioned chat messages. Does the shorter average length of a chat or a Slack or whatever message as opposed to an email message make building models more challenging?
Definitely, yes. And again, like I see it in a different way. Like you have different chats at the same time. You are talking to someone on video chat, and you're emailing, and say like Bloomberg chats, and and you're talking to your colleague on side. Like, all these things like has to come together, like at the same time to bring the models, like what he's thinking.
Right, because we use all of these tools, so we should be evaluating all of these.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can't just rely on one chat system. Like when you are analyzing, it has to all come together. Right. That's where we're trying to find like the timelines and all the different things to play around to get in, to find that emotions. Like it might be like talking to someone in a different behavior to talking to someone else with a different behavior.
Right.
So that's where like we have to work towards that AI models, like where you can grab all that information and put into context.
As you are building AI models, to what extent do you need to take bias into consideration? I know there's a lot of discussion about bias in the larger world outside of e-discovery. I think in the world of e-discovery, we're trying to figure out still how that plays out. How much of an issue is that for you all?
It really depends like how much maturity we got into these AI models. Like I think I feel like because it's changing it. I mean, the models are changing day by day, and the apps we are using changing day by day. So I would say like it's still like it's a learning process for us to get into that models. Like I said, like the future jobs is training that models, and I think like once we get that maturity, we can talk about that bias and thing. I think we are not ready to take a decision like which side we have to go.
Yep. So that's a to be figured out still issue,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
One last question, because I know we're running short on time here. You can't do all of what you're talking about without significant resources. Are resources a challenge these days?
That's the biggest problem we are finding, especially I think like it's across the world, but we're in Australia and we are seeing it more and more. Like that's the biggest problem, and especially finding people in the e-discovery space or review space like now is getting much harder, and that's one of the reasons like this automation piece will help companies like automate as much as you can, and put on your current processes and put the people where you need, so you can reduce that competition on the resources. That's what we are trying to do as well, and I'm sure like a lot of companies who are struggling as well probably doing the same thing, but that's the biggest problem at the moment in Australia, and even for us like finding people and the competitors like pushing different people. All the stuff is a chaos at the moment. It's something definitely Australia and the world has to solve, like by putting this automation piece or like AI piece, putting it together and solve some of these problems.
Well, great. So a challenge with the possibility of a solution, and a solution you are working hard at getting us to.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Murali Baddula.
Baddula.
I almost got it right. Baddula is Chief Digital Officer at Law and Order. I am George Socha. This has been eDiscovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. Murali, thank you so very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Glad to have
Cheers.
you here.
Thank you.